Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So according to Fox, American journalist Christian Martin, Manchester United are in talks over a sensational Cristiano Ronaldo transfer return. It also does mention that PSG will make a move for him if Juventus decide to sell him. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo did endure 6 years with Manchester United. He scored 118 goals in 292 games in all competitions. Ronaldo at Manchester United won the FA Cup. That was the first trophy he won when he came. He also won 3 Premier League titles and he also won the Champions League. Now, obviously, when we bought Cristiano Ronaldo, we paid just £12 million for him from Sporting Lisbon because that's where he began his footballing career. Then obviously in 2009, we sold him to Real Madrid for £80 million. So we gained around £68 million profit. He endured, around 9 or 10 years with Real Madrid. He scored over 400 goals for them in all competitions. And obviously in 2018, Juventus had bought Cristiano Ronaldo for around £100 million. And for Juventus, he scored around 71 goals in 94 games. Now, he is regarded as one of the best players in the world. Ronaldo's won 30 major honours during his playing career. He's won 5 Ballon d'Ors and he's won 4 European Golden Shoes. And he scored over 700 goals for club and country. Ronaldo is the age of 35. Next summer, he will only have 1 year left on his current contract with Juventus. So do you think there's any trustworthy in this story? I think it was quite a few years ago now, there was rumours of Ronaldo coming back to Manchester United. By the way, Cristiano Ronaldo has allegedly had coronavirus 3 times. So that's the breaking news on that. Now obviously, Man United are looking to make more signings next year. Because I still think Manchester United need a centre-half and I think we also need a right winger. Now obviously there's Ousmane Dembele on our agenda from Barcelona. I think we could be going back in for Jadon Sancho next year. Recent reports have said that we are going to go back in for Jack Grealish. Erling Haaland, we could also go in for him next year. We'll be looking to offload more players next year because there's obviously still deadwood in the squad, isn't there? I think next year we'll be looking to get rid of Jesse Lingard. We'll be also looking to get rid of Marcus Rojo. Looking to get rid of Phil Jones. I think we could be loaning Daniel James out. We could be loaning Brandon Williams out because Brandon Williams is now our third choice left back following the arrival of Alex Telles. He recently said that Dean Henderson could be loaned out in January. So that means we've delayed our decision on Sergio Romero's future. Gareth Southgate's told Dean Henderson he needs to play more regularly if he is to challenge Jordan Pickford for the England #1 jersey. So yeah, if we do loan Dean Henderson now, that means we'll keep Sergio Romero at the club as backup. You know, Dean Henderson has not played in the Premier League this season, but he's played in both of our League Cup games and he played in one of our Champions League games. Don't forget the start of the season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with the club worth around £120,000 a week. And I said at some point he should become our number one. Could we sell Nemanja Matic next year? Because Matic has lost his place in the team. Juan Mata, could we sell him next year? I think a lot of Man United fans are expecting Paul Pogba to leave the football club next year. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think he will be sacked as Manchester United manager at some point. Now, obviously, if we hadn't have beaten Everton, then I think Solskjaer would have been sacked as Manchester United manager, because he was under a lot of pressure going into that game, was Ole. And he's still under some pressure now. I think after the international break, we've got to win 5 or 6 games in a row for more and more pressure to ease off him. Now, so far this season, we've played 7 games in the Premier League. We've won 3, we've lost 3, and we've drawn 1. So reflect on that, we are sitting 14th in the Premier League. We've had some good results this season. Beating PSG 2-1, beating RB Leipzig 5-0, recently beat Everton 3-1 and that. But we've also had some bad results, so there has been many ups and downs. We had the 6-1 hammering to Tottenham. We had the 3-1 loss to Crystal Palace on the opening day of the season. We had the 1-0 loss to Arsenal the other week. That was Arsenal's first win at Old Trafford in the Premier League since 2006, which is around 14 years ago now. We had the 2-1 loss to Istanbul Başakşehir. That was an embarrassment. That was our first defeat in the Champions League group stage, and it was Istanbul Başakşehir's first ever win in the Champions League. Now, obviously, Mauricio Pochettino is the favourite to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the football club. But like I updated you yesterday, Rio Ferdinand claims that Manchester United have had no conversations with Mauricio Pochettino over replacing Solskjaer, and Ferdinand said he's frustrated with the disrespect that's been shown to Ole. Because the Manchester Evening News said last week, was it, that Man United have approached Mauricio Pochettino over becoming the club's new manager. Pochettino, though, will not wait for the Manchester United job because he is considering taking the job at PSG. He's also been linked with the managerial role at Real Madrid. There's also been talks of him going to Manchester City. Barcelona have been in for him. It said the other week he was in talks with Zenit St. Petersburg. Newcastle at one point were interested in him, but he said on Monday Night Football the other week that he's missing football and he's ready for a return to management. Pochettino's been managerless now for like a year. But he was a favourite to take over at Man United after Jose Mourinho got sacked. Now, Julian Nagelsmann, he's been another manager on our agenda. We've seen him as an alternative to Pochettino. Also, Massimiliano Allegri, he's another manager that's been on our agenda, and we've seen him as an alternative to Mauricio Pochettino. If we decided to sack Solskjaer, he would be the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, because we've already sacked 3 managers, and that was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. Would it really solve a lot if Manchester United sacked Solskjaer? Because obviously not all of the blame stems from the manager, does it? These still players that are underperforming at Manchester United. Obviously the board is one of the problems at the club. We've been demanding the board out for several years. Obviously reflects on how poor our recruitment policy's been, and we've also overpaid for players. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was not backed enough in the summer transfer window because we missed out on all of his priority targets and we missed out on a lot of targets in general. None of our managers have been backed enough since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Moyes wasn't backed enough. Van Gaal wasn't backed enough. Mourinho wasn't backed enough. And Solskjaer has not been backed enough, has he? So yeah, we need to get Woodward and the Glazers out of the football club. You know, Ole Solskjaer has been Manchester United manager now for almost 2 years. You know, he's managed over 100 games for Man United in all competitions. I think he's won around 57 games as Manchester United manager since he got appointed in. He has got a contract with the football club until 2022, so obviously we're going to have to pay to sack him, but I think it'd only cost the club around £4 or £5 million. Now, like I've said in regards to Solskjaer, he was a great player for the football club and, you know, he's a club legend, but I just don't think he's good enough to succeed as a manager. You know, Manchester United is the third club in his managerial career. Obviously, before he was with us, he was at Mould. He won a few Norwegian titles and that with Mould, but obviously Mould are a big club. And before then, he was at Cardiff. He endured a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. So he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, but reflecting how long he's been at Man United, he has gained managerial experience. Don't forget, Ole is inheriting a squad that is worth £700 million because obviously he's inheriting a lot of players even from the Jose Mourinho era. Still a couple of players here from the Louis Van Gaal era, still one player here from the Moyes era, and there's only what 2 players here now from the Alex Ferguson era, isn't there? Ole has endured 4 transfer windows at the football club and he spent over £200 million. In the summer of 2019, he brought Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January, he brought Bruno Fernandes in and he brought Odion Ighalo in on loan. And in the summer transfer window of this year, he brought Donny van der Beek in, Edison Cavani, Alex Telles, Facundo Pellistri and Amad Traore. Amad Traore will be joining the football club in January, won't he? And we've also seen a lot of players depart the club since he got recommended in. And I also like the way that Ole has promoted the youth. I think our record against the top 6 sides has been impressive since he got appointed in. And Ole, to be fair, showed a lot of tactical flexibility in a lot of the big games. Did well in his first full season, Ole, as well. He obviously got us to 3 semi-finals. He got us qualification for the Champions League. And he also got us a 3rd place finish. 2nd highest we've finished since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. So, reflect on what we did last season. I'm surprised Man United have not built on that, to be honest with you. Don't forget, we did go on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions. The second part of last season, won it. You know, was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League and 2 Palace had beaten us. You know, we did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. I think Manchester United did make a mistake by giving him the job permanently, but we're giving the job permanently reflects on what I did in that 3-month period when he was temporary boss. But Ole's in a position, you know, that he should not be in. But I think the club have made a lot of mistakes in the last 7 years or so, and that's one of the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent. And you saw my video that I did yesterday, you know, what Manchester United need to do to win the Premier League title. I think we do need at least 4 or 5 more signings if we are to win the Premier League title, and that, you know, we haven't won the Premier League title for around 8 years now. You know, the last time we won it was in 2013 in Alex Ferguson's last season. And that season we did win it. We won it by 11 points. Now, this season, I'm hoping that Manchester United can finish in the top four, and I'm hoping that we can win a trophy. We've not yet won a trophy under Solskjaer, and we haven't won a trophy for over 3 years. Like I said, Solskjaer's got to exceed his expectations if he is to remain in the Manchester United job. This is his second full season as Manchester United manager. In the last 7 years or so, we have been playing catch up, haven't we? We haven't only had different managers with different philosophies. We've spent close to the £1 billion range on players. We've recruited over 30 odd players in since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Our most expensive sign at the moment is Paul Pogba, who we paid £89 million for. Second most expensive signing is Harry Maguire, who we paid £80 million for. Obviously, he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment. Paid £60 million for Angel Di Maria. We've got him under Louis van Gaal. He's no longer at Man United now. We paid £75 million for Lukaku back in 2017 from Everton. Lukaku enjoyed a couple of years at the club and then he went to Inter Milan. Paid £52 million for Fred. Paid £50 million for Wan-Bissaka. Paid £40 million for Nemanja Matic. So we have spent big on players in recent years. Not only that, we've got players on big contracts at the football club. But no matter who our manager is, whether it's Solskjaer or Poch, or even if it was to be Pep Guardiola or even Jurgen Klopp, no one will replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy. No one will last as long as Alex Ferguson did, and that's something that Manchester United have got to accept. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the club. And, like with Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, he didn't settle in straight away, but look how good he is now because Liverpool have given him time. And to be honest with you, we've had a lot of patience with Solskjaer. I think the only reason now he's in the Manchester United job is because he's a club legend. If this had been any other manager, then I think, they would have been sacked. Now, I mentioned Luke Shaw yesterday on one of my videos I did. I've got some bad news regarding him. He's got a hamstring injury, Luke Shaw, and he's going to be out for up to a month with this hamstring injury. He sustained it in the 3-1 win against Everton. This is probably why Solskjaer was angry with the kick-off time for the Everton game. Because obviously the injuries we've picked up. And he says, we were set up to fail because we played in Turkey previously. It's my element of concern anyway about Luke Shaw. He's too injury prone. He had an ankle injury towards the end of last season. He had an injury at the first part of last season as well. Luke Shaw's enjoyed a good 6 years or so at Manchester United. We paid £30 million in from Southampton back in 2014. Obviously, Rashford had a problem with his shoulder, but he should be okay for the West Brom game after the international break. Lindelof had a back problem, but I think he's no longer got a back problem. Eric Bay, he's out with a muscle injury. He's out for a few weeks. Again, that's my element of concern about Eric Bay. He's far too injury prone. Lingard, he's close to returning, but he's still out with injury. Phil Jones, he's been injured and he recently had an operation, didn't he? So there you go. But these players at Manchester United that have recently impressed me, like I've said. David De Gea, he's recently rejuvenated himself. Made some very, very good saves. I said David De Gea will remain our number one this season. This is David De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United. So he has been a long servant at the football club. He has made over 400 appearances for the club in all competitions. He's made over 300 appearances in the Premier League. I've been critical of him though in the last couple of years because he has made a lot of calamitous mistakes. But he's had at least 7 good years at Manchester United as David De Gea. Paid, was it just over £18 million for him from Atletico Madrid back in 2011. When De Gea does leave Man United, he will go back to Spain anyway. David De Gea is the highest paid at the club and the highest paid goalkeeper in the world because he's on 350 grand a week. He signed a new 4-year deal, was it last September? And Wan-Bissaka now, he has impressed me in some of the games he's played in this season. He's had a couple of games where he's looked a bit off the pace and that, and he's lacked that attacking intent and defensively hasn't been that good. But did well against Newcastle, scored his first ever Manchester United goal, and that game against Newcastle was his 50th appearance for the club. This is Wan-Bissaka's second season at Manchester United. Gotta say, I've been very, very impressed with Harry Maguire. He's rejuvenated himself. Because don't forget, he did have early season troubles. He had that incident in Greece. He had 2 knocks. He also got a red card in England's 1-0 defeat to Denmark earlier on this season. But it hasn't let it affect him. He just said he's focusing on his football, Harry Maguire. He's obviously our captain. Luke Shaw's impressed me. Obviously, I'm disappointed that he's got this injury now. But Luke Shaw's got 2 assists in his last 2 games. Fred, he's impressed me recently. I like the way he's kept the ball in midfield. He showed some good attacking intent. I like the way he's broke up the play. He was very, very good against Everton, was Fred. He was all over the place. Fred's been at the club now for a few years. Bruno Fernandes, he's impressed me as well recently. He scored twice in the Everton game. He also got an assist. He was very, very poor though in the Istanbul Besiktas game, Bruno Fernandes. He lost the possession 34 times. That was definitely his worst game in a Manchester United shirt. There's only been a couple of games where Bruno Fernandes has looked off the pace. But in the vast majority of his games, he's been very, very consistent. Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed around 9 months at Manchester United. The vast majority of his goals have come from the penalty spot because we've had a lot of penalties under Ole. Obviously, last season, Bruno Fernandes won Premier League Player of the Month twice. I think he won it for February and June, reflect on his good performances, and also won some Matt Busby Player of the Year award, didn't he? We paid €55 million for Bruno Fernandes. €55 million equates to around 47 million in pounds sterling. He's the best player we've got, and he's the best signing we've made under Ole, and probably one of the best signings we've made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, to be honest with you. Now, Marcus Rashford, I've also been very, very impressed with him. Marcus Rashford was very, very good against Everton. He was getting some good runs in behind, had some good chances. Should have got his name on the score sheet, really. He also got an assist in the game. Rashford was poor against Arsenal, though. He wasn't that good against Besiktas. Good against RB Leipzig. Scored a hat-trick from the bench. Became the second Man United player to score a hat-trick as a substitute. He also scored the late winner in Paris. He scored a few goals in the Premier League this season. Rashford's been part of the club for several years. Rashford recently turned 23 years of age. I think Rashford looks better on the left-hand side than he does playing centrally. That's my opinion anyway. Donny van der Beek, he's impressed me in the games he's played in. He really, really has. But he's hardly played, has he? That's the problem. He has started our last 2 games in the Champions League, hasn't he? But he's not yet made his full Premier League debut for the football club. I think Solskjaer's basically trying to figure out where his best position would be because he can play in like 3 different roles. Donny van der Beek is predominantly a box-to-box midfielder. Well, he was at Ajax. When we started him against Leipzig, we put him in that number 10 role, Donny van de Beek. We paid £40 million for him from Ajax. Donny van de Beek signed a 5-year contract with the club with an option of a further year, and he currently wears that number 34 shirt. So yeah, they are the ones that have impressed me. Scott McTominay, he's had a couple of good games this season, and I've give him a lot of credit when he's deserved credit, but I have also criticised Scott McTominay a lot. There's also players that have been underperforming as well, like I mentioned earlier. Daniel James, he's obviously been out of form. Paul Pogba, he's been very, very inconsistent. I give you the news, didn't I, on Paul Pogba recently? The France manager, Didier Deschamps, he says that Paul Pogba cannot be happy at Man United for being left on the bench and for playing out of position. And he said he wants to talk with Paul Pogba regarding his situation at Old Trafford. Paul Pogba's only started 2 of our last 7 games, so he's not even getting a lot of starts now, is he, Paul Pogba? Jamie Carragher insists that Paul Pogba's not good enough for us, and he says Manchester United should sell him. I heard that we've lowered our asking price and we will accept £53 million for him. That's £36 million less than what we paid for Paul Pogba. Now, I think he'll end up going to Real Madrid because earlier on this season, Paul Pogba made an admission saying that one day his dream is to join Real Madrid. Last year, he was talking a lot about Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane, and he said he wanted to leave Man United because he was seeking for a new challenge. There's obviously been rumours of him going back to Juventus. He did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus. The vast majority of his performances at Man United have been totally comparison to his ones at Juventus. There's been rumours of him going to PSG. Barcelona have also been in for him. I think Paul Pogba was disappointed by the way that we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. Because he's under contract now with the club until June 2022. Fabrizio Romano also confirmed that. But there has been no talks whatsoever over getting him a long-term contract at the football club. We won't break our wage bill to keep him at Old Trafford. We won't pay him what we paid Alexis Sanchez, will we? He's on £209,000 a week as it stands at the moment. This is his 5th season at Man United since he rejoined. He's made over 100 appearances in all competitions as he scored around, 30-odd goals, something like that. Paul Pogba hasn't played much this season. Didn't play a lot last season because he was out with that ankle injury. Sustained a few injuries as a Manchester United player. So yeah, I reckon he should be sold, Paul Pogba. But some Man United fans think, we should keep him. Obviously, we've had a few issues with Mason Greenwood as well. Obviously, we have concerns over Mason Greenwood's attitude and lifestyle. Bruno Fernandes has recently been infuriated with Mason Greenwood, reflecting on his poor training session, which I think was last Friday. He's been withdrawn from the England squad yet again. He was withdrawn from the England squad with Phil Foden earlier on in the season. Solskjaer has been defending Greenwood in recent weeks. Greenwood is our number 11. He's the 4th Manchester United player to wear that number 11 shirt. Matic, I haven't been impressed with him recently when he's played. He doesn't get any team lot now anyway, does he? This is why I think Man United are going to end up selling him. Martial, he's been underperforming. Obviously, he's just come back from a 3-game suspension. Martial did get sent off in our 6-1 defeat to Tottenham. Really, he shouldn't have been sent off, though. So he needs to improve. And there's a lot of Man United fans that are now saying Martial should be dropped and we need to start Edison Cavani ahead of Anthony Martial. Edison Cavani did score his first goal for the football club in our 3-1 win against Everton. But, Martial, he did well last season under Ole, and he did well in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. Martial's been at the club now for over 5 years or so. So, yeah, these players that have definitely been underperforming. So anyway, guys, what do you reckon to the Ronaldo news and that? Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.